Hey, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo. I'm Studio1Sports.com, and I'm by myself, all by my lonesome. Not really, because I'm with all of you, and I'm happy to be here with all of you. So let's say hi to some folks in the chat. We got Triple E saying, "What's up? What's up?" Sorry, Triple E, I pulled a fast one on everybody yesterday. I guess I announced that Fonzie and I were going to go live earlier this week. But we postponed it till next week. So we're going to be next week. We're going to go in depth about Fonzie's Florida Championship Wrestling reign, which was 10 years. So we're going to cover some of the memorable matches and memorable people he's interacted with. So that'll be next week on rvdtv.com and on studio1sports.com. So get excited for that. Cammy Star says, after morning, guys, any new word on the Stephanie DeLander leaving TNA situation? We're going to talk about that. I'll talk about that for sure. Good topic to bring up for sure. Jeff Henninger says, hello, R&I. Did Dom hardly wait to watch movies so he can keep up with all the pop culture references? I did. I have not watched Can't Hardly Wait yet. I got to add it to the list. I got to add it to my letterbox. That'll be on my list to do that. Dre Owen says, made it back from lunch just in time for R&I. Well, good to have you here, Dre. Willie Thornbrew, also in the house. Is Kevin Knight going to do the job for you guys too? Right. Yes. We'll talk about that too. Wrestling Old Dad says, after morning, everyone. Robert, what's your favorite Celsius flavor? Also sparkling or non-sparkling? Ooh, we'll have to star that one for next time. Because Robert isn't here today. He had a poor work meeting he had to take. And Wrestling Old Dad also added to Willie Thornbow, they did do Kevin Knight wrong. Cammy Star says, in the dark. And the inspiration getting squashed wasn't inspirational. No, it wasn't. I didn't disregard your question. See, whenever I just put up the chat and I read it, I'm like Ron Burgundy with the teleprompter. So, all right, let's talk a little bit of that AEW Dynamite episode. I thought pretty decent episode overall. I think, again, better than Raw. And this is like maybe the third or fourth week in a row I can say that. So, certainly the show has its missteps and misgivings, but overall, they at least have something planned. WWE has nothing planned, it feels like. This is all kind of really thrown together, and it made me think about WWE's situation in comparison to what they would do, when they had named stars and a machine behind it that, obviously, if you don't factor in, Vince's later years, but you go back to like the Attitude Era and before that and stuff like that, there was a game plan in place. And there's a report that just came out. I think it was PW Insider happened to say that WWE had this planned, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton planned for January. They just didn't know how they were going to get there exactly. So if that's what's going to happen, we're going to get Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. I don't remember what Robert happened to say. Well, I'm all for more just one-on-one matches at WrestleMania. I do think that they're going to do Drew dirty if they don't put him in like the main event picture like this, because he's going to be without a dance partner. It's kind of where Cody Rhodes is at right now. He's kind of without the dance partner. So obviously they're going to throw him in here with Randy Orton, as it seems, for the championship match at WrestleMania. And then, but then Drew does not have somebody to go to the dance with, basically. You could have Jacob Fatu. You could put all three of those guys in, and that's probably what Robert guessed last time, yesterday, I believe. But ultimately, this all feels so thrown together. And guess what? It makes WrestleMania feel less important because this has been very thrown together. It's like me saying, oh, I have a game plan. Like, okay, here, I'm going to use an example. I'm going to use me as this. What I've been wanting to do with Studio One Sports since I kind of rebranded it and launched it and stuff is do an around the horn type show with wrestling personalities, quote unquote, wrestling journalists. And, I host it and then I give people points for their points that they make. And by the end of the show, whoever has the most points, they get a minute to talk about whatever they want, particularly wrestling related, but whatever they want. I don't care. And I did that a couple times for WrestleZone. I've been wanting to do it. I've talked about wanting to do it. I kind of have a game plan how I want to do it, but I don't know when I'm going to do it. And so, uh, guess what? It hasn't happened yet. So, what's WWE doing right now? They're saying, "Oh, we had a plan for Randy and Cody back in January, but we don't know how we're going to get there yet." Reportedly, uh, allegedly. But I just so if you don't have a game plan and you don't lay out that game plan and execute that game plan, things aren't going to feel that engaging, and they don't. Because, like I said yesterday, and to Robert, was like Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes feel like a big deal, and you could tell a really good story that people could sink their teeth into because of the history with one another and the legacy. And then if you if you took the time and due diligence to put Randy Orton in the villainous role of all this about, he turns back into the Viper, and then you have him just go after Cody. Sure, we're going to be getting that here, but like you make WrestleMania feel like a bigger deal because you've been building and building and building to this. Now it's just going to be like, oh, here's Randy and Cody, and now we're going to get Viper Randy here with just a little over a month away before WrestleMania. So the feud is not as well thought out as it should be. So where was I going with that? Oh, just overall though, like, so those are kind of like the misgivings that, a big misgiving that WWE has. Now, while AEW, sure, some of the stuff is not engaging necessarily to me, but at least they're laying out something. They have something here with MJF and Hangman Page. They're doing stuff with Swerve Strickland and Brody King. The Young Bucks and FTR, they have some sort of direction going on here. And and we're seeing a consistent presence of that week in and week out. Whereas you look at the main event picture scene on Raw, there's no nothing is tangible as to where they're going exactly with WrestleMania. Like, is Seth Rollins going to be healthy? Who's Gunther facing? Is it going to be Rey Mysterio? What's Brock Lesnar got to do with all this? Now, these could be intriguing questions that the fans ask, but they're more like, what is going on? It's not more like, I'm excited. I don't know what's going on, but I'm excited. There doesn't seem like a direction. Give me your thoughts in the chat. Let me know. Michael Watson adds, LaCroix is expensive outside of the States. I used to like LaCroix a lot, but then I just got tired of it. I drink Olipop now, which I like a lot. I like Olipop. They have a Mountain Dew, a Ridge Rush, I think it's called. It's really good. And then I like their Apple Crisp that they have. Or Crisp Apple. Crisp Apple's a good one. But yeah, we'll see. We're talking about energy drinks. Wrestling Golden says, if you have me on that show, Dumb, I'll have a dry erase board in the background with a quote, the day of a day, a la Woody Page. Yes. Woody Page was my guy back at Around the Horn. Have I told this story before? When I was a freshman at Clarion University, alma mater of Kurt Angle, it's true. I was a journalism major. And one of my first classes was a journalism class. And one of our assignments that we had to do is we had to interview somebody that was already in the world of journalism. So I was huge and Around the Horn. Big reason why I did sports broadcasting / journalism as a major. And I was like, I'm going to try to get a hold of Woody Page. So I dug up the Denver Post website, found, I believe it was an email. Yeah, I think I just found Woody Page's email address on there at the Denver Post. And I sent him an email to my message, send it out there. Well, one day I'm laying in my bed in the dorm room at Wilkinson Hall, and there's a phone call. And now back then, cell phones were not around that at this point, really. They really weren't. They were just they were burgeoning, but I didn't have a cell phone. What did I have? I had a little landline in the dorm room that was hanging on the wall, a phone that was hanging on the wall. So I get this phone call, and I drop the phone as I try to pick it up, and it falls in between the door. Like on the door, there's like a towel bar on the door of my dorm room door, and it fell through the towel bar. So the cord's just hanging through the towel bar. I'm in my underwear because I was just sleeping, and I get on the phone, and it's Woody Page. And literally, I have my interview with Woody Page while I'm laying on my dorm room floor in my underwear. Doesn't that sound right if you know who I am? Damn it, Dom. So that was an early technical issue with me way back when. But crazy stuff. Fascinating interview I got to have with him. But all right. So now that I did that sidetrack, let's talk about Dynamite. Things started off with MJF and Kevin Knight. And yes, Kevin Knight did lose. Am I really that disappointed or upset about it? No, I don't think so. I think he fought the world champion. They clearly made it clear. People are saying Dom's Devin Dowling says Dom's been fighting technology forever. And Kami said, first damn it, Dom. It's true. I had plenty of damn it Doms before that. But maybe from a technological standpoint, that might be my first mishap. But yeah, I'm not that upset that Kevin Knight lost. I think they obviously set it up. It's a world title match, and MJF's your world champion. Kevin Knight had plenty of offense in there. He looked credible. I think it was kind of weird. Was I mistaken? But the crowd wasn't fully. They kind of booed Kevin Knight. Like I don't know if they wanted to see MJF more, or maybe I misheard. But it sounded like they were kind of booing Kevin Knight. Like the crowd was kind of mixed on it. But overall, yeah, I thought it was fine. Is it really necessary? I mean, probably. I don't know. It's just we've seen this. Like Robert said yesterday, it's like what did he call it? Something booking that Tony Khan does, where it's just like you bring in like tier kind of levels of booking. Like he had a term for it, but I couldn't remember what it was. But either way, it's just like we've seen that before. So I don't know. I was okay with it. Hangman coming out and then MJF coming out, but then the Don Callis family comes out and attacks them to set up a main event later on. Oh, wait, I'm screwing this up, aren't I? Yeah, I am screwing that up because that happened later on. But yeah, I was fine with this opening segment and kind of makes things, gives a little clarity to maybe where they're going more so with, what they have here. So I was all right with it. I was okay. All right, let me pull up the rest of the results so I just do these in freaking order. AEW Dynamite results. Here we go. So yeah, I thought it was a good match. Okay, we had Darby Allin versus Orange Cassidy versus Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. This match starts off pretty cool. I mean, I kind of like it, like them just attacking Orange Cassidy, throwing him, like spearing him. That was a cool spot. Clark Connors running up the steel steps and spearing him through that table. I mean, but then, and I love Darby. Like, I kind of forgot how fun Darby is in the ring, to be honest. Like, and he got to showcase some of this a little bit in this match where it's just like the deck is stacked against him. Orange Cassidy's kind of out for a while. Then Orange Cassidy gets back in. So this is the loss I took more exception with. Like, you're building the dogs here as this new wild faction or tag team, at least at this point, as we know, and that they're like, then they lose clean nonetheless after what they did to Orange Cassidy. Like, if you were to put this back, let's say 20 years, you had that spot happen to Orange Cassidy, he would not be coming back in the ring. He'd be done for the match. There'd be no partner. And then they would lose. So I don't understand them. What's the point of them losing to Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin at this point? You could really help get these guys over even further if they just beat or they beat Darby Allin. It's one guy. And then Orange Cassidy shows up later on. Like, I did not understand this booking. This upset me way more than the Kevin Knight thing. The opening match. I thought this was more egregious. And you could still at that point debut David Finlay. Like, keep putting the heat on him. They win by taking out Orange Cassidy, and then they start beating up Darby. And who comes to get a couple extra stomps in, but David Finlay. So yeah, people are surprised that David Finlay debuted in AEW. I thought he was going to WWE. That's like just on my peripherals and seeing what was being said online. I didn't necessarily dive deep into like, hey, what's the information of all this of the David Finley's status? What is all that going on? I didn't do any of that really, but I did hit my radar about, oh, I guess we'll see David Finlay in WWE here pretty soon. Sure enough, no, he popped up in AEW. Wrestling Old Head says, so in New Japan, is New Japan officially a feeder organization for AEW? Well, it feels like the way, but I mean, like, if we're being honest, like David Finley's been in New Japan for years. So where is he going next? He could go to WWE. He could go to AEW. So it's just like, I don't know if that's necessarily like considered a feeder system since they have the connection though. I mean, AEW might have, the better end to get those guys or gals or whoever. But I'd like, ultimately, like if somebody, I'm just throwing a name out here, Evil, because didn't Evil leave? If he leaves, he might be going to WWE. So it's just like, I think AEW has the better end because their relationship with the company, but ultimately, I don't think it's like really a feeder, true blue feeder system, even though, kind of feels that way. Like if you look at the track record, Takeshita coming in, Okada, Ospreay. So like, it's kind of just, they've had that bridge already there, but I mean, talent doesn't necessarily have to cross that bridge. Yeah. Oh, that's what Candy said. I think was my place is dark. It is. I don't have any lights on. Like I'm just letting natural light come into the place here right now. Yeah. I mean, but to Wrestling has completely been a one-sided partnership between New Japan and AEW, tilted heavily in AEW's favor. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, to go over there and win the New Japan title. How much did that really do for New Japan? Did it do a lot? I don't know. People are Wrestling Old Ed also adds about I agree with WWE sticking David Finlay in NXT, put him in the new group with his brother, the Birthright. Oh, wow, how did I not know? Maybe that's what I'm getting a little confused about. Like I forgot his brother was in his brother's in NXT. I didn't even know that. Interesting. Oh, and that was the rumor. This is rumor and innuendo, everybody. Just so you know, the name of the show, and this is what Devin says as a rumor. Rumor is WWE wouldn't change their minds on making Finlay start in NXT. So he probably maybe didn't want to start in NXT, and he went over there. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Like interacting and working with wrestlers for the past year, like behind the scenes and stuff like that. It's I mean, people make some interesting decisions. Like, and it doesn't always necessarily feel good long term for them to do. Like, but then you'll see like stuff happen and then like things change. So and I mean that's in any business, but just getting firsthand experience of seeing stuff behind the scenes with wrestling promotions, local wrestling promotions, it's different. I mean, sometimes wrestlers just handle things differently and you're kind of unexpected. And I think there's a bit of sometimes when it comes to that, there's level of maturity when it comes to some of that stuff. Not that I'm saying David Finlay's immature by any, I never met him. I don't know, but I think he's probably got a level head on his shoulder. Maybe he's got a certain amount of like every wrestler should about it, amount of ego that he's like, I think I can be here and do this here. So who knows what goes on though? I mean, could be, could not be, could maybe be something completely different. All right, let's continue on here on this wild road that we have of AEW Dynamite. We got the Brawling Birds versus the Inspiration. And yes, the Inspiration lost. They lost. That's Cassie Lee and oh my gosh, Jessie McKay, formerly known as the Iconics. So yeah, they got squashed. Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay, they're not really known for the wrestling, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But it's like still they're a tag team. I would not get them squashed. I would have gave them. You want to build your women's tag division up, and if you can work around some of, what their missteps may be or anything like that when it comes to in-ring acumen, like I think that only benefits AEW to have just another notable tag team in their women's division, because good golly, it just, who knows? I mean, because you have the Babes of Wrath. Um, I guess you could consider Mina and Tony Storm a tag team. You have obviously the Birds of, what are they called? The Brawling Birds, and then you got the Sisters of Sin. So you do have some ladies in there, but I mean, like, why not establish a roster here that's steady? And I think there's so much personality and charisma with in the inspiration that it's just like, protect them a little bit. Don't squash them. I wouldn't even have them lose, to be honest. I would probably had something happen where like it became a schmoz and some heels interfered, like Bane and what's the other girl's name? Like the other big girl. We got Penelope Ford, but who's the taller woman? I can't remember her name. But either way, have them come here and just run roughshod on people, like, and then cost everybody any chance at it. But speaking of squash matches, we had another one: it's Hangman Page versus Marty Snow. I think I've seen Marty Snow somewhere, not in person. I think I've seen him before. I don't know, but either way, he gets squashed, and it's more for an opportunity for Hangman to cut a promo, and calls MJF out, and then MJF is like, "Nah." He's like, "I already beat Kevin Knight. Didn't you see that?" And then Hangman gets ganged up on by the Don Callis family from behind. And then out come the Don Callis family, and then they reveal that they have a trios title match tonight against the Jet Set Rodeo, which, by the way, pretty cool name. I like it. I think it's clever. That's actually a very clever trios name. So there we go. Fine. It's like, okay, like, we're getting this. We'll talk about it here. Actually, this one. Oh my God. So yes, this was an eliminator match. John Moxley taking on Hechicero. These eliminator matches, man. Just, can we end it? Thank you. Dre Owens gave me clarity. It's Lena Cross. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. Oh my gosh, yeah. And Dre Owens brought up other teams: Athena and Billy Starks, Renegade Twins, Deanna and Taya, all on payroll and not used for tag titles. Crazy. Just unbelievable. Yep. Jeff Henniger puts it great here. Tony Khan special. Debut them, beat them clean, job them out, and disappear from TV. How crazy is that? So upsetting. You just made me mad, Jeff. Not on your end, but just thinking about that. It's, yeah. What the heck? What the heck? But yeah. So Hechicero and Moxley go at it. Fun kind of stuff going on. I love the little roll thing that Hechicero did to Moxley, and then Moxley ends up getting the win. And then, but yes, he's certainly portrayed as a baby face in this. Then later on, we get this backstage promo with the rest of the Death Riders. Wheeler Yuta finally shows his hair, or lack thereof, at this point, because it got shaved. Yeah, it was there. I don't know, like, kind of unceremoniously. Like, why wouldn't you have him do something in the ring? I mean, put the reveal in the ring. Everything, some of the stuff of significance happens backstage and kind of takes away from it. Like, the aspect of somebody shaving their head, you want that, oh, where it is, but we get it backstage instead. It did. So I don't think that did anybody any favors really doing it that way. And like, look, this was heel stuff kind of too. I mean, like, what Yuta said was babyface stuff, but then Moxie gets there and kind of says some heelish things and still toes the line with trashing the Don Callis family. And then you get Marina Shafir calling somebody the P word, and then she spits on the ground, which I kind of like. I mean, that's kind of, it gives her some layers, I think, of like this tough lady. So I like that. But ultimately, it's just like, all right, what are they? How are we supposed to root for her? If they're trashing some baby faces that we like too. I don't, it's the gray area stuff, and I'm not a fan of the gray area stuff. It doesn't do anybody any favors. Oh, they did reveal it? So, but if it's on Collision, it didn't happen. They revealed it on Collision. Tony Storm pulled the beanie off Utah. Golly. Jeez, oh man. Jeez, oh man. How long do you think we see a women's trios title? Please no. Please no. If anything, get rid of some titles. Like get rid of oh my god. How can I even keep track of anything? The Continental Championship, that's what Okada has, right? Get rid of that. Get rid of the international title. Have them merge. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is gonna you have to plan it out, obviously. But I mean, you have another merger, unification of the international and continental championship. Unification. Make this announcement beforehand too. Heck, make it easy. Who's the TNT champion? Kyle Fletcher. All right, so you have Okada, your continental champion. You have Moxley, your international champion. You have Kyle Fletcher, your TNT champion. Have it a fight for the titles. Which title will survive? How about that? Which title will survive? And you have, I don't know. You draw them out a hat. I don't know, like something, and some way, one match has to occur. A unification match has to occur, and it's between. We're gonna just say Okada and Moxley. Continental versus international. We're unifying. Whoever wins, their belt stays alive, basically. All right. So do what you want. I don't care. I don't care about either of these titles, the international championship or the. Oh my God, we still have the national championship too. What the heck? You can keep that one. So they get rid of one of them. All right. Let's say Okada wins. Continental championship still survives. Boom. You have Okada versus Kyle Fletcher. This title, whoever wins, their title stays. The other title goes. TNT championship. Kyle Fletcher wins. Boom. TNT championship. Those belts have merged, fused together, and there you get rid of some titles. How does that sound? Keep the national title because that's new, and there you go. I don't know, and I still don't even like that many titles. Yeah, I could see Harley an inspiration as trios champs. I don't anything with new titles. I don't want unless you do a mixed tag team championship because I think that would make them stand out further than WWE. But get rid of the trios, get rid of those several singles males titles, and then you have the women's TBS championship. You have the women's world championship. Leave those go, and there you go. I mean, just leave it. That's what I liked about AEW starting off is the less titles. I think I actually talked. Yes, was that the question I asked Tony Khan last time? It was about so many titles, and he was like, "Yes, it was," because I talked about Bruno Sammartino buying one of the Pittsburgh territories, if you will, and telling the guy, oh my gosh, what was his name? Ace something. Ace Steinman? Ace something. Either way, Bruno bought the territory from him, and he noticed that every match was a title match. And he's like, you got to get rid of these titles. And Bruno, I think, just got rid of all of them except one or two. I think he just kept one. And I told Tony, I pulled from history to tell Tony that. And I was like, has you given any of that thought? And he was like, no, it's just a different time. He's like, I think that's a great story, but it's a different time. And it's a different thing. So I tried, but I don't think it's, what are you going to do? Tony Kong. Oh, bro, you get a title. Everyone gets a title. This is how it should be. Cammy's right. Have a men's and women's main, then have a mid for both and tag for both. That's all you need. That's really all you need. I would not be against them adding a mixed tag title too, just for that. But then that's it. Men's title, men's and women's main, which is your world championships. Then 2 mid for both. So TBS and TNT, totally fine with that. Makes sense. You get that company synergy with Razor's knocking his water over. Get that company synergy with, your television channels. And then tag team championships, obviously. But then you have a mixed one. And that creates some fun agreement there. Cammy, get behind the scenes. Get Tony Khan on the horn. So, yeah. So that, yeah. I mean, I think that's the way to kind of, I don't know. Just make things feel more important because I mean, honestly, the TNT Championship felt important back in the day, like it did, and I was excited for those matches. They felt like a good good thing to have, and they felt valuable. So I mean, it's very upsetting. Can you guys tell I'm vamping right now because I am trying to pull up one of our ad reads that I want to do, and one of those ad reads happens to be Mando. Yes, I love Mando. Do I have the deodorant here? I do. I do have it. Mando is awesome. Boom. Check this out. The Mando Invisible Cream. You can put this on your package. You can put this on your feet. You can put this on your armpits. Good stuff. But Mando has plenty of great products too that you can enjoy, including your standard deodorant stick. Deodorant spray, I dig a lot. I think that's great. The deodorant wipes are great too if you're in a pinch too. So, but there's plenty of options. And Mando has got you covered in so many different ways. And so we got you covered too. Some men mask their BO with sense. Mando Man gets the job done right. Don't mask it, Mando it. Available in retailers near you, or head to shopmando.com because for a limited time, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code RUMOR at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide. Do it to it. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Boy, it is getting dark in here. Let's see. Willie Thornberry says WD is really the only reason I would go to Portland. Really looking forward to the show tomorrow night. There we go. All right. All right. Let's continue on here and look at what's going on with Dynamite. We also had a little interaction back behind the scenes between FTR and the Young Bucks. That was all right. I mean, they punched Brandon Cutler or whatever, and like the Young Bucks are upset about that after they trashed Brandon Cutler for the better part of a year, right? We're supposed to care now just because he was one of their guys, and now I don't know. It just seems kind of a little lazy, right? It's just like do some attention to detail here to have a Mendo relationship. Maybe they did this on like BTE, or is that back now, or like Collision? I don't know. Are the Young Bucks even on Collision? Like, so I did, but make it make sense in certain ways. We had Tommaso Ciampa cut a promo and then was interrupted by FTR as they tried to recruit him, and Ciampa wasn't having it. Kind of mocked him and said that he's going to see them on Collision. Will I see them on Collision? Probably not. I probably won't watch it. I haven't watched Collision. Even when they had Billy Gunn on there and I wanted to watch it, I didn't go around and watch it. So I'm not saying it's not a bad show. I'm sure it's probably pretty good in certain ways, but I don't it's hard to just take Saturday night and go watch Collision. And then I got to work the next day. And then I got work to catch up on. So it's tough for me to, all right, I'm going to add this other wrestling program to what I already have. So, but we had another great match here. This was the women's world championship, Thunder Rosa versus Thekla. I love this match. I thought Thunder Rosa and Thekla had really great chemistry with one another. Something that I really admire about Thunder Rosa is her ability to convey emotion, like facial wise, and from what she does in the ring, like just the little details she's very good at when it comes to the in-between of the wrestling aspect. And she's a great wrestler too. So it was nice to see her back in the mix. And it just, and then she loses to Thekla after, fighting from underneath several times. Then she gets stomped on twice and she gets speared twice. And then that's finally what does her in. But I think it was a really, really great match. And then Chris Statlander runs out to kind of, protect Thunder after further potential attack from Thekla. Thekla is great, by the way. Awesome. I would really have her go on a run with this championship then and make it really, really feel important. I would have her beat Chris Statlander. I would have her beat anybody she really goes up against and just make her a terror. And then, at some point, then you can have a really good Tony Storm and Thekla feud. Or heck, remember Britt Baker? Maybe bring her back. Or you could revisit Thunder Rosa at another point in time, too. I just think there's some options there. So like that match. Main event was that trios title match, and sure enough, we had a change, new champs. It happens to be the Don Callis family are your new champions, and with the help from MJF. So thought this was fine, and I think just makes sense. I just don't care about the trios titles. So thought it was all right. As far as I wanted to double back, let me say I didn't add this. I like what Gabe Kidd has to offer. I like what Clark Connors has to offer. I do like David Finlay in the mix. It seems like they're, even though they lost, like, I find that frustrating. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But I like what I saw from those guys at least. You know what I mean? Man, it's getting dark in here. I gotta. We're not gonna be here much longer, so let's take a look at what people are saying. When FDR after Ciampa, the spot to Ciampa, I was intrigued. Then he said no, and I didn't care anymore. Oh, yeah, kind of, right. But I don't know how much. You know what though? I think to your point, Devin, that might not have been a bad move. I think him doing that would be Ciampa kind of going. No offense to FTR, but it would be kind of where they're situated and positioned at right now. It would kind of be Ciampa taking a back seat where he's in a primary position right now. If he were to do that creatively, I think but I do think him joining FTR would elevate FTR even better. So, but maybe it's a little over a week away. We're going to get Revolution. Maybe Ciampa's the one that costs the Young Bucks, or does Gargano actually? I don't know what his situation is, but does Gargano actually come out and then, we got a new tag team, DIY and AEW. I don't know, but either way, that would be intriguing. So maybe they do something like that. Dre Owens says Collision has decent in-ring stuff. Think 2005 SmackDown. All right. Well, I can't think 2005 SmackDown because I was not watching wrestling at that point. I was in college and I was living life and so Mondays and Fridays, Thursdays, whatever time SmackDown was on at that point, was not watching. Yeah, I kept loose tabs on it, to say the least, but literally I was not watching anything. I didn't even watch WrestleMania 20. Didn't watch anything in between, really. Evolution, I was aware of. One Night Stand brought me back, at least. I got really, that. But anything else was not on my radar. I got back into wrestling. So I went to college 2003, and then didn't get back into wrestling pretty ardently until 2008. 2008, started watching a little bit more again. So took a bit of a 4-year exit, something like that, with still keeping tabs on things. But hey, Simone Watchman, thanks for joining in. All right. Tony Gant says, knowing how Robert feels about people having multiple titles, his head must have exploded at the Don Callis family winning the trios. My God. Jeff Hanger says, so Dom, you're saying you have same stand on. Oh, yes. I have the same stand on 2005 SmackDown as Collision that you don't watch it. I guess so. Yeah. But I guess that's true. But stuff happened on SmackDown. It's the fact that I didn't watch it doesn't mean other people didn't watch SmackDown at that time. I just didn't watch it. Now, the fact that people don't watch Collision is kind of tangible, right? So, SmackDown 2005 had more viewers than Collision. But yes, for me, that is true. I had the same stand on 2005 SmackDown as Collision that you don't watch it. Kami adds she had her radio show in college. If didn't play practice and watching, I was watching, taking notes. Oh man, yeah, you were kind of in the same realm I was, because I would go to radio DJ Thursday nights. I would go to the school radio station and play music and operate the soundboard for a couple hours. But then I would have play rehearsal or hang out in the theater department. Oh my god, I'm yawning. Hang out in the theater department and stuff. So yeah, that's what I did at Clarion University. Kind of wish though, retrospect, I love theater and acting and all that stuff, but really wish I would have put more time into the comm department than I did in the theater department, just because this is what I'm kind of doing now. And I know everything's kind of changed since then, but I feel like I could have created myself some better opportunities doing that. Not that I am not happy with my opportunities here, but either way. Cool. All right. Overall, decent Dynamite. Maybe I guess B minus if I'm giving it an overall letter grade. So that's probably where I'll be at with that. You don't want to be a B minus in the bedroom though, do you? No, you definitely don't. You want to be A plus plus. And fellas, you already know what time it is. It's time to level up, and Blue Chew has dropped something crazy. I'm talking next level championship belt, gold plated energy. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. No. This is the 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance. We're talking about 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping, and mix it with apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and the connection to your brain and body. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in just as little as 15 minutes. That means you can get it on quicker and stay in the game longer. Elevation without hesitation. This is peak passion and peak performance in a single tablet. So we got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off of your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code RUMOR. That's promo code RUMOR. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you, Blue Chew. All right. Let's take a look real quick at the dirt sheet before we close on out. See is there anything happening and popping up on here? Taking a look. Oh, we didn't talk about Steph DeLaunder and Mance Warner reportedly exited from TNA, and that's a big loss. But it could be somebody's big gain. And let me say, if I were WWE, I would get Mance Warner and Steph right now, big time. Mance Warner has this kind of such an engaging, fun personality that's like, and he's a Southern psychopath. He's old school. You get him in the mix on a main level WWE programming, and I think you can create something really special. Like, you can create a new character that people really, really get behind or really want to go after. I think really get behind. Like, Mance Warner, I think, has such a higher ceiling than anything else. I've worked with Mance several times in the company we don't talk about here, but he's been great. And I just think he has this connection with a fan base that's really good. And you pair him up with Steph, this is like a new power couple that you can really have a lot of fun with. So if I were WWE, I would be getting on the horn for Mance Warner and talking about that pay window for him, because he gives you that old school vibe, but he's a newer wrestler. That, I mean, he's been around for a long time now, but I mean, either way, he's still new. And like, I just think about like what Danhausen's already the #1 selling T-shirt already on WWE after he got booed. If you package Mance Warner and put him on the main roster, like, I really think he could be a big baby face for WWE. I really do. I think he could big time. So because we've seen like Mance made little cameos on AEW. He's had a match with Moxley, I know, before. But again, I don't think it would, financially it may help him, but I would definitely, if I were Mance, but if I were WWE, I'd be getting on the horn and trying to get Mance Warner ASAP. We're getting some good reaction to that one. Let's take a look here. Shout out to Isbania Arroyo. Thank you for tuning in. Greetings from Atlanta City. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you're new, This is studio1sports.com. I am going to turn on the light real quick. This is studio1sports.com. Go to that website. It's the YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe and comment down below. But thank you all for tuning in. Hey, it's a little warmer in here now, huh? But thank you for tuning in. Isbanza. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. I know it. Isaban Arroyo. Thank you for tuning in. Jeff Henry says, might go to WWE because of the Matt Cardona connection. Oh, good point. But Tony's been rating TNA. That's true. I mean, this is a big loss for TNA too. Like either way, it's, you think about their debut on AMC that they made, and it was lackluster. I gave it a pretty decent letter grade when I first watched it, but like some of this stuff is like first impressions are everything. And like, this is your first time on AMC, and I understand maybe they had I think some people had travel issues or whatever, but man, you gotta put your best foot forward with that kind of stuff. And so, but then you hear like, the Rascals then left, and then like, it just felt like people were leaving. Like when it's supposed to be a really big time for the company, and then I don't know, it just, you lose it. It's not so to lose somebody like a Mance Warner and a Steph DeLander, it's not good. I think somebody will really benefit by signing them, especially WWE that's looking for like charismatic personalities. And like Mance Warner is such a talent. I think I always even watching when I would go. So my job with the other company was I was their social media guy. So I would clip things up. I would post on social media, and that was my job. I would also write the recaps, the weekly recaps to when they had Fusion. I could say that name at least. When they had Fusion, I'd write their weekly recaps and post them on their website. And so I watched the product, and I watched it week in and week out. And Mance Warner was my favorite, like baby face going on there, like all the time. I was always entertained by Mance Warner. Like it was the Mance Warner and the Von Erichs. And then like you had guys like the Dynasty, and I'm blending timelines here, but Dynasty and Jacob Fatu and so many great names. Cesar Duran later came in, but like this is what WWE's looking for, somebody like Mance Warner. I would get him. I'd get Steph, and I would party hardy. Southern psychopath, daddy. No doubt about it. All right. Derek Mitchell says Steph and Mance are a rare act in wrestling business besides Cross and Scarlett, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, Dom and Liv. Since the Me Too movement, it's like wrestling is scared to have interactions with couples. I don't think that's the case at all. Yeah, I don't think they're afraid to have Me Too stuff. Or wrestling couples. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a thing at all. I just think it's like I don't want to say a trope, but something that has gone to the wayside, much like the manager. Like I think there's value in having like a power couple. Like you do get, I mean, but to your point, Derek, like Steph and Becky aren't always together. Not Steph. Seth and Becky aren't always together. But like they are, you do understand that. But yeah, I don't think that's necessarily is. Isabella, who is the next WEF superstar you'll interview? Well, I mean, typically Rob Van Dam, but he's not current. So if it's a current one, I will be heading to April to WrestleMania and for WrestleMania week. Hopefully, I get credentialed, and I will get some wrestling interviews over there while I'm there. So yeah, we'll have to see about that, but that would be neat. Is Ibzon? I got it. Ibzon Arroyo. All right. Thank you for clarifying that for me. But if TNA won't clear Steph, would WWE? I don't know. That's a good point. Like I don't know exactly, because she had a pretty intense injury, didn't she? So let me see if I can look that up real quick. But like even if she's just as like with Mance Warner, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing for her. I'm trying to see where I want to get the. Trying to see. over wrestling dispute. According to the report, the female star has been trying to get cleared for action, and then she went on WWE's, and she even went to WWE's spinal surgeon for clearance. Oh, so TNA Wrestling, however, told Steph that she would never be able to wrestle for the company again, prompting the husband and wife duo to take the action. There's no word of the official status of the two with the company, but the belief is that they could be finished after the current loop of tapings, suggesting she'll be returning to wrestling by the end of the month. So she wasn't cleared. So I'm curious, though, if she got cleared by the WWE spinal surgeon. If that's the case, wouldn't I think WWE would let her work? But I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I guess it's going to be a wait and see kind of thing with that. Here we go. Since TNA debut, they lost the Rascals, the Inspiration, and now Steph DeLander and Mance Warner. Crazy. He also follows up. Understood. It's hard to believe that good-looking people of the opposite sex would have any interaction with each other. Asante the Adonis was the only guy in NXT that talked to women. Yeah, they got it. To that point, I think that it is a delicate thing to kind of do. The dynamic of romance or sexual tension, anything like that. I do think, to your point, Derek, that they do take more of a guarded line with that, But if you're in a relationship, I don't think that's necessarily steered away from, I do think some of it needs to be embraced a little bit more, kind of what they're doing with Aleister Black and Zelina. I think there's more value to that for sure. All right. Well, cool. Yes, I think WWE should sign Mance Warner, though. I think that should happen. And if Steph can go too, that'd be great as well. Get a new couple in there and have some fun. All right, that'll do it for me. Robert will likely be back tomorrow. It's raining pretty steady here in Pittsburgh, PA. I was going to walk to the gym or bike to the gym, but it's raining. I was really waiting for the rain to end so I could go to the gym, and I cannot do that right now. It's just raining right now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But you'll see me tomorrow, like you do every Monday through Friday, here on a plethora of channels, including Studio1Sports.com, Rumor and Innuendo, YouTube. You didn't know YouTube channel on SE Scoops X account, at WE Creative _ish on X, at Studio One Sports on X, and at Dominic D'Angelo on X as well, and Watch Podcast Heat X account as well. So thank you all for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time here on Rumor and Innuendo. Best of luck in your future endeavors, and rain, go away so I can have the gym today. Shh.